No more chit-chat. I'm not trying to describe whether we should do the green transition or not. That's given. We are now going to do it. These are the logistics and mechanics of how we do it. Everyone used to talk in platitudes. There was just a lack of hard numbers. Fossil fuel energy was abundant. It just happened in the background. It's like the oxygen we breathe. There was no discussion of our dependency on minerals. The whole commodity sector seemed to be considered a market phenomenon. It was the most amazing amount of bullshit that I ever heard about what they thought the future was going to be. And these guys were laying down the hammer of how we were going to live. Instead of projecting what might happen next year or the year after, I've looked at what would happen if we were to replace the system around us. So we need 37,289 terawatt hours in addition to what we have now. That is larger than the existing power system. So we wish to construct an electrical system that's much larger than the existing power grid using energy that's more expensive and simply not as effective as what we have now. And it doesn't include everything. These numbers are too small. They don't include what was used by industry for manufacture. But we just don't seem to understand the nature of the plan before us. And the phase out fossil fuels is larger than we thought. We should have started this 30, 40 years ago. So the non-fossil fuel system does not exist yet. It hasn't been constructed. And as it hasn't been constructed, we can't recycle it. So the first generation at least has to come from the mining of minerals. Minerals are the new oil. So we can now list for a global transformation how much metal we need by chemistry and then sum it all up to the edge on the right-hand side. So this is a mining problem, and you're looking at the mining industry's ability to deliver. Copper production from 2020 back to 4000 BC, we mined around 700 million tons throughout history. To keep up with demand as it is now, not including the Green Revolution, we will do the same thing in the next 22 years. Reserves at the moment are 880 million tons. On top of this, we want 4.7 billion tons to manufacture the first generation of non-fossil fuel technology. That's 6.7 times the historical quantity. And they think they're going to do that in a couple of decades. I would propose that a radically different plan is required. What is it? Our current plans for phasing out fossil fuels are simply not good enough. They just don't reflect reality. And the current system has no concept of its dependency on minerals and does not consider long-term concepts like continuous growth in production against finite resources. The smart money is we're not going to be able to do this for 8 billion people. If we're going to go down this path and use this plan, these couple of slides, by the way, raised quite a bit of discussion when I presented this at the IMF. And so we can't change our commodities very easily, and we can't change our technology very easily, but we can change us. So it's implying a radically different system of governance and a very different social contract. Ecological reality and biophysical limitations will reassert themselves. We need a better plan, something that is actually tethered to reality. And so I've given that some thought, and this is the start. Conduct a Maslow hierarchy of needs analysis loop, not just for society, but for also industry, which allows our society to function at the moment. Reorganize the industrial value chain around low energy future and the very support supply chains that are inconsistent in performance. Retool the existing power grid into a network of microgrids that can transfer power between them and still function if part of the grid is shut down. If we can have a technology that can cope, then we won't need the buffer. Some industries are about to become a whole lot more important than others. Plan for an economy that can periodically shut down, become more in tune with the seasons, shut down over winter. Develop the capability to particularly quickly find substitutions for material products or industrial outcomes as the supply becomes non-linear, unreliable, or unavailable. So evaluate what's really needed and plan to do it in a regional scope. We are no longer have the complex 6-continent global supply chain in place. We are now have to develop things regionally. And that's how I think this is going to go. It'll be non-linear. It's going to be pockets of amazing activity and pockets of despair. Don't be in a pocket of despair.